Imagine for a moment that within you there is a sacred fire. A fire that does not destroy, but transforms. A fire that does not consume the flesh, but awakens the soul. That fire has been described in many ways. Some called it Holy Spirit, others called it prana, kundalini, vital energy, but through the centuries, among symbols and metaphors, one name repeats like an ancient echo: alchemy. We are not talking about the alchemy of medieval laboratories, crucibles or metals. We are talking about something much deeper: spiritual alchemy, the occult art of converting the dense into the subtle, the ordinary into the extraordinary, the shadow into light, and the ego into consciousness. And if I told you that right now, you are already in the middle of an alchemical process, and you didn't even know it, what would you think? Every crisis, every fall, every loss you went through was not by chance, but part of a journey designed to mold your inner self. You are not a victim of chaos, you are an apprentice of the great work, and though you may not yet perceive it, every difficult experience has been part of your transmutation. Since ancient times, the sages understood that true alchemy does not occur outside, but within. The Egyptians, with the mysteries of Hermes Trismegistus, left written in the emerald tablet that what is above is like what is below, and what is within is like what is without. For them, matter was but a mirror of the spirit. The Greeks inherited this in Neoplatonism, where it was taught that the soul ascended from the material to the divine, from clay to light. And later, medieval alchemists disguised their wisdom under cryptic symbols: dragons, serpents, skulls, and crowned kings, that more than ornaments were hidden languages for those who could see beyond the surface. But what were they really looking for? They were not looking for physical gold. They were looking for the gold of the soul, that awakened consciousness that is neither bought nor stolen, but cultivated in inner silence. The Sufis, the yogis, the Taoists, all spoke of the same thing in different words: the human being as a microcosm, a miniature universe that must be purified, aligned, and reborn. This process has clear stages, 3 great gates that every inner alchemist must cross. The first is called nigredo, the black phase. Here, everything collapses: identity, certainties, masks. It is the dark night of the soul, when life seems to take away everything you knew. And even if it hurts, it is necessary, because what does not die in you cannot be reborn. Then comes the albedo, the white phase. It is like coming out of a tunnel and seeing clarity. It is not the external light, it is the inner light that begins to remember who you are. In this stage, intuition awakens, calmness appears, synchronicity. You feel that something has been cleansed, that you have regained purity. But it is not yet the end. The last door is the rubedo, the red phase. Here occurs the sacred union between the human and the divine within you. It is not escaping from the world, it is embodying it in another way. You live coherently. Your words and actions vibrate in tune with your essence. You no longer seek spirituality, you have become it. This is the true philosophical gold, not a metal, but a state of consciousness capable of transforming your life and that of others. And yet, alchemy is not linear. It is not a single destination, but a cycle that comes back again and again, spiraling, taking you higher, deeper, each time. But here a key question arises: how can you apply this wisdom in your day-to-day life, amidst the noise of the modern world? The answer is both simple and profound: through conscious practice. Every crisis you face can become your nigredo if you embrace it without running away. Every moment of clarity that comes after is your albedo if you recognize it and nurture it. And every act of conscious love, every word spoken with compassion, every decision aligned with your essence is your rubedo, manifesting here and now. The ancient symbols are reminders. The black raven is not a curse, but an announcement of transformation. The dragon represents your shadow, that repressed energy, that if you face it, becomes power. The philosophical egg is yourself, the container where the new version of your being is being gestated. These symbols are not ornaments of the past. They are keys that activate your unconscious, maps that point to what is happening inside you. And although the path is not free of resistance, that resistance is not a mistake. It is a sign that you are close to a transformation. The ego is afraid to dissolve, and so trials appear, inner sabotages, doubts, old wounds that resurface. But do not stop, they are the guardians of the threshold, the last gates, guarding your awakening. Always remember this, the inner fire you need does not come from outside. It is the union of your will and your love. Will without love becomes control. Love without will dilutes into evasion. Only together do they form the heat necessary for your transformation. So don't look at alchemy as a distant theory. Make it practical. Make it life. When you journal your emotions, you are distilling your chaos. When you tidy your space and cleanse your body, you are polishing your inner temple. When you light a candle with intention, or choose to respond calmly, rather than react with anger, you are forging your own inner gold. Spiritual alchemy is not running away from life. It is spiritualizing the life you already have. Your relationships, your decisions, your silences. Therein lies your secret laboratory. And now, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what alchemical stage are you in right now? Are you going through your nigredo, purifying in the darkness? Or are you feeling the clarity of the albedo? Or maybe you are already integrating into the rubedo? Let me know in the comments. I want to read you. And if this journey resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Because the more awakened hearts are ignited, the easier it will be to remember that the great work has already begun, and that you are part of it. If you made it this far, it means that something inside you recognized the spark of spiritual alchemy. Perhaps it was a phrase, an image, or simply a feeling of truth that touched deep fibers in you. Because alchemy is not dead theory. It is a living language that awakens memories that are already engraved in your soul. You do not hear these words by chance. You are here because a part of you has already begun to remember. Many believe that alchemy is a secret kept by a few, locked in ancient manuscripts and hidden in discreet societies. And yes, there were times when knowledge was protected with symbols and ciphers. But the truth is that alchemy was never meant for the few, but for anyone who dared to look inward with courage. What happens is that looking inward is much more difficult than looking outward. It is more comfortable to blame the world, circumstances, destiny, than to enter the crucible of one's own soul and face the shadows we avoid. That is why spiritual alchemy is dangerous, not because it hurts, but because it dismantles the false structures on which we have built our identity. It forces us to recognize that what we identify with, work, possessions, even certain relationships, are just wrappings. And when those wrappings dissolve, what remains is what is essential, what we truly are. That is the inner gold that the ancients sought. Now, how do you recognize the signs of this process in your life? The first sign is crisis. When everything seems to fall apart, when you lose something you thought was fundamental, when you feel a sense of emptiness. This is the nigredo, and although it hurts, it is the door to a rebirth. No gold emerges without fire, and that fire is the trials that burn what you no longer need. The second sign is sudden clarity. Sometimes it comes as a revealing dream. Sometimes as an instant of inexplicable peace in the midst of chaos. It is the albedo, the white phase where something in you reconnects with the divine. You begin to see that what hurt you had a purpose, that what seemed like an ending was actually a beginning. And the third sign is coherence. You begin to live differently. Your words align with your actions. Your way of looking changes. Your relationships are transformed. You no longer need to pretend anything. You simply are. That is the rubedo, the alchemical marriage between the human and the divine in you. The fascinating thing is that this cycle does not happen only once. It repeats itself at different levels of your life. What is your rubedo today can become a new nigredo tomorrow. Life will ask you again and again to die and be reborn, to let go and flourish. Because consciousness does not stop, it always seeks to expand. The ancients knew this, and that is why they left maps in the form of symbols. The phoenix that is reborn from its ashes is nigredo and rubedo at the same time, death and resurrection. The lotus blooming in the mud reminds us that purity emerges in the midst of difficulty. The dragon guarding a treasure symbolizes the inner shadows we must face before accessing the gold of the soul. And here is something crucial. These symbols were not literary metaphors. They were psychic tools. Meditating on them, visualizing them, integrating them into daily life activates processes in the depths of the unconscious. That is why medieval alchemists filled their treatises with enigmatic images. They knew that the soul understands symbolic language better than rational language. Now, stop for a moment and think. What symbols appear in your life? Repetitive dreams, animals that cross your path, colors that repeat at certain times. Nothing is coincidental. Everything that resonates in you is part of your own alchemical language. But of course, it is not enough to recognize symbols. Alchemy requires practice. Not external practice, but inner practice. This is where many get lost, believing that reading, accumulating knowledge, or repeating phrases is enough. No, the true alchemist transforms with his life, not with his words. I share with you some keys to start living alchemy right now. First, transform your pain into a teacher. The next time you go through a loss or frustration, instead of asking why me, ask yourself, what does this experience want to show me? That simple shift opens the crucible of your consciousness. Second, honor your body as an alchemical temple. What you eat, what you breathe, what you consume mentally, everything either feeds the inner fire or extinguishes it. You do not need elaborate rituals. It is enough to live in coherence. Sleep well, breathe consciously, choose what nourishes instead of what intoxicates. Third, practice contemplation. I am not talking about meditating for hours in a cave. I am talking about stopping for a few minutes a day to observe your mind without judgment. There the lead of your repetitive thoughts is revealed, and by observing them, you begin to distill them into gold. Fourth, transform your relationships into a laboratory. Alchemy is not tested in solitude, but in contact with others. The real test is how you respond when someone touches your wounds. If you react from ego, you go back to lead. If you choose to respond from consciousness, you exude gold. Fifth, light your inner fire with intention. Every morning, when you wake up, set a clear intention. Not a to-do list, but a vibration. Today I walk in peace. Today I am a channel of love. Today I transmute my shadow into light. That statement ignites the alchemical furnace within you. When you apply these practices, something starts to happen. You notice it in your energy, in the way you see the world, in how you respond to life. It is not instant magic. It is deep, slow, constant transformation. And here arises a secret that the alchemists guarded with zeal. The work is not individual. It is collective. Each person who awakens contributes to the awakening of others. Every time someone lights his inner fire, he illuminates those around him. We are like burning embers that, when approached, light fires. Think about this. If you are listening to these words, you probably feel that the world needs a change. And it does. But that change doesn't start with governments or institutions. It starts with you. An awakened alchemist is a focus of silent, invisible, but powerful transformation. What's more, this journey never ends. There will always be new layers of shadow to transmute, new lights to integrate, new stages to go through. Spiritual alchemy is not a destination. It is a spiraling path, lifting you higher and higher, and deeper. Imagine for a moment what would happen if every person on the planet remembered that they carry within them an alchemical fire capable of transforming pain into wisdom, chaos into clarity, shadow into light. What would happen to our relationships, to our communities, to the whole world. Perhaps that is the true gold promised by the ancients, a humanity awakening together, spark to spark, heart to heart. So if you are listening to this, understand, you are already on the path. It doesn't matter what stage you are in. It doesn't matter if you feel darkness, clarity, or integration. It's all part of the journey. The only thing that matters is that you don't stop, that you hold the fire, that you keep going, even if it burns, even if it hurts, even if you don't understand everything yet. Because spiritual alchemy does not ask for perfection, it asks for authenticity. It does not seek scholars, it seeks courageous hearts. It does not demand dogmas, it demands presence, and that is within everyone's reach. Always remember that your life itself is the laboratory. Your soul is the raw material, your experiences are the crucible, and your inner fire is the furnace where the gold is forged. You don't need anything external. Everything essential is already within you. And now I ask you, are you willing to enter fully into your own alchemical process? To hold the fire, even if it hurts? To allow your shadow to dissolve to reveal your true light? If your answer is yes, then you are already part of the great work. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And if this message resonated with you, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with those who you feel are also looking to ignite their inner fire. Because the more awakened hearts unite, the more the light of consciousness will shine in our world.